about the small people, and we care about the small people.
There is a legal way to completely bypass those long, annoying security lines at the airport.
Lunken Airport now has scheduled jet service to New York and Chicago with no metal detectors at all. 9 News anchor Brendan Keefe takes us aboard. Brendan?
Clyde and Carol, with this new jet service, flying to the New York metro area is quicker than driving to Columbus. And by that measure, Chicago is now closer than Dayton, because the long delays and all those other things you hate about modern air travel have been eliminated. This is what the jet age looks like today. Passengers grounded in long security lines, waiting for invasive body scans or aggressive pat-downs. But not Tony Bonomini. The Northern Kentucky businessman simply walks right onto the plane. No, it's not his private jet. It's a public charter, and anyone can buy a seat for less than a last-minute ticket on Delta.
Leave your home, get to the airport, and walk right on the plane. What more could you ask for?
You could arrive 15 minutes before departure, get on the aircraft, and you're on your way.
Ultimate Jet Shuttle flies 2 30-seat Dornier jets out of Lunken Airport, offering round-trip flights to Chicago and New York every weekday but Wednesday. The Chicago flight lands before it even takes off. Because of the time change, the 7:30 flight out of Lunken arrives at Midway by 7:25.
You can step right on without any delay, no pat-down, no security, no lines.
Deanna Castellini flies to New York for You Give, the nonprofit she started with Chris Collinsworth.
Over 100 flights were canceled at CVG. We were able to board inside the hangar, pull out, fly in with no delay whatsoever.
Ultimate Jet Shuttle offered us a seat on its New York flight to see how it works. The 6:30 a.m. flight lands at 8 o'clock in Morristown, New Jersey. That's around 45 minutes from Manhattan by van. But a taxi from JFK often takes just as long.
It's all about time management. A few hours ago, it's hard to believe I was sitting in my house in Cincinnati. And now I'm in Times Square in the heart of New York. And it's still morning time.
Tony Bonomini is able to meet his business contacts on Wall Street, grab a quick lunch in Midtown, and still be back home in the tri-state in time for dinner.
Early in the morning to carry on business and still back in time to be with your family in the greater Cincinnati area by 7:30 in the evening.
This kind of luxury does come at a cost. $645 round trip to New York, $495 to Chicago. But that includes free parking, in-flight meals, and even free beer and wine. Also, there's absolutely no charge or limit on luggage.
Actually, I believe we are less expensive than a first-class ticket.
Or a last-minute ticket. A 5-day advance purchase for a coach seat on the comparable Comair flight from CVG to LaGuardia was $921. Baggage not included. To catch the 7:30 Comair flight, you'd have to leave home at the same time, 6 a.m., because of parking and security. If it's on time, the regional jet arrives at 9:36 in the morning. We were already in the city by then.
It's as if Lunken Airport is a stop on the New York City subway system. You can be in Midtown Manhattan in a matter of hours.
Even on a Friday, when a lot of business travelers are sitting on the tarmac for up to 2-3 hours, we are leaving at 5:15 on time.
Back in suburban New Jersey, everyone boards after only showing a photo ID.
Please be seated for departure.
And just like that, we're off. Chasing the setting sun. A little after 7, we're back at Lunken Airport. The passengers walk off, grab their bags, and everyone is in their cars just 30 yards away by 7:15. And the 5:28 Delta flight from LaGuardia is still up in the air.
And you don't have to stay for just one day. Families and leisure travelers are starting to use the business shuttle for multi-day trips, avoiding delays and long lines on vacation. But what about safety if there's no security checkpoint? Ultimate Jet Shuttle does file every passenger's name with the TSA, which then checks the manifest against the no-fly list. It's all approved by the TSA and within the rules for a public charter on a small jet with 30 seats or less. Guys?
saving a lot of that valuable asset of time.
Time, absolutely.
Really interesting.
All right, brace yourselves, because the airport experience may soon become even more unpleasant, to the extent that it could. The TSA recently announced 2 dismaying decisions: to allow unionization of its workforce, and also not to allow any more airports to hire private security screeners instead of the TSA. Here to break down what these decisions mean for the future of the TSA and your personal liberties is Nicole Kurokawa, Senior Policy Analyst for the Independent Women's Forum. Nicole, it's a pleasure. Welcome to Freedom Watch.
Thanks for having me.
What does this mean for the average member of the traveling public that the TSA goons who participated in the porn or grope now may be members of labor unions?
As you said before, it was bad before, and it's going to get a lot worse, because this was an unaccountable bureaucracy, and now there's going to be an unaccountable bureaucracy with an additional level of unions that are going to be in the middle of all these decisions. Ostensibly, they can't collectively bargain over all different aspects of how TSA is run, only the non-security aspects. But let's bear one thing in mind. Its middle name is security, so pretty much everything they touch has to do with security. So not quite sure how they're going to break that down, but it's really scary.
Does this mean that the TSA workers, and we're watching some of them in their blue uniforms with their blue latex gloves, that they themselves will become a force within the government, independent of the political appointees and civil service superiors who run and manage them? Is that what you're telling us?
Yes, and there's a lot of them, too. There are about 50,000 of them that will join a government union, and accordingly, that's a lot of money that's going to go into union coffers then. This has been something that the administration had pushed, or that President Obama had pushed during the campaign trail. He said he really wanted collective bargaining rights for the Transportation Security Administration. And taking a step back, this is because union numbers in this country have been on the decline.
Well, other than wanting their votes, why would he, as the President of the United States, want to have to deal with a union? Why would he want to create another force within the government? Why would he want to create some political power that could basically say to him, we want the porn and grope, we want that authority, and we're going to negotiate for it in our next collective bargaining agreement?
Well, there's a lot of money that all these different unions have been pouring into Democratic coffers. Look at the past election, the 2010 cycle, the 2008 cycle. So it's time to pay the piper, and unfortunately the piper is those unions.
Does anybody make the argument, except perhaps you and I and some of our friends, that the TSA is basically unconstitutional, that it inserts itself in a private industry at the most important relationship between that industry, the airlines, and the flying public, that it assumes unto itself a power nowhere granted to the government in the Constitution, that it blatantly violates the Fourth Amendment every minute of every day that it does its work?
Unfortunately, there are not that many people that are sounding that call. I think what we see right now is, people citing Article 1, Section 8, saying, well, it's defense, it's related to defense. And then, of course, the government always likes to fall back on its interstate commerce, or that it's necessary and proper. So I think the big question then is going to be, will anyone ever even stand up and tell the government, on some of these issues, you're pushing the boundaries.
Got it. Nicole Kurokawa, it's a pleasure. Come back and join us again. Thank you.
That's awesome.
I don't understand. We got 35 people that ride a train in front of us. Everyone. It is in a 3-ounce container, though. So funny.
Good morning,
You guys came off the train, right? We all came off the train. I don't understand. Like, if you're getting on, you should get all this.
Trust. Do you trust the government?